All right, guys, so in this video, I'm going to show how a 100% disabled veteran can build their home with $0 out of pocket using the VA home loan benefit. So if you do not know, my name is Dylan Seavering. I'm a full-time North Carolina real estate broker for the last 4 years. Prior service Army veteran. Me and my family have used our VA home loan several times now. I guide veterans and service members on using their VA home loan to its fullest advantage. So I'm going to chop this up into about 5 different steps, from getting approved, finding the right builder, pricing the build out, the land acquisition part, and then we're going to go into the very final steps of just closing, the breaking the ground, the draws from the builder, and then it's going to be a lot of information packed into 5, but if you are interested in using your VA home loan benefit to build your house, this video is going to show you exactly how you can do it, and in my opinion, how you should best prepare. So very first step, getting approved. So the VA construction to permanent home loan benefit, getting approved is just like any other VA home loan benefit. So first thing, you're going to have to find a VA home loan approved mortgage lender. Now, most mortgage lenders are going to be approved by the VA to do the VA home loan, but that does not mean that they are going to specialize in the VA home loan, and certainly does not mean that they specialize in the VA construction to permanent loan benefit. So making sure that you find a mortgage lender, or making sure that you work with a mortgage lender that knows the VA home loan, and more specifically has done the VA home loan construction to permanent loans in the past, is going to be a huge advantage. But the very first step of getting your mortgage approval is going to be finding that VA mortgage lender. They're going to have you fill out a mortgage application, and after you do that, you're going to authorize them to pull your certificate of eligibility from the va.gov website, so your mortgage lender can do that on your behalf. A couple of documents they're going to need. So usually I suggest to people that if you're able to provide your two most recent bank statements, your 2 most recent tax returns, and then your ID, whether that's your CAT card or your driver's license or whatever it is that you have. And of course, your social security number. That's going to give the mortgage lender enough information. They're going to pull your credit so they can determine your credit score, understand your current debt obligations, and then understand your qualifying income, so they can really give you a pretty good pre-approval based off of just these. So since this video is specifically for veterans that are receiving 100% disability income from the VA, instead of a bank statement, you may just have an award letter from the VA that states your current disability rating, and it'll tell you a monthly amount that you are entitled to receive from the VA. So this letter would be in replace of maybe your bank statements or your tax returns. So if you are rated by the VA, make sure you download this award letter and provide it to your mortgage. Next thing we're going to look at is the calculation process of how the mortgage lender is going to add up your income and then subtract your debts, and we're going to figure out what your total buying power looks like for this 100% disability income. So we see here that on the far right, the monthly income for a veteran that's rated 100% with no dependents is going to be $38.31 a month. This is the link where I found this right here. So a veteran that is rated 100% disabled by the Department of Veterans Affairs is going to be receiving that $3,831 per month. So fun fact, if you do not know, all tax-free income like Social Security disability or VA disability, BAH, BAS, these incomes can be grossed up by a mortgage lender for qualification purposes. So you'll take your total base amount, in this scenario would be $3,831, and you're going to multiply it by 125%, and that's going to give you $4,782. This would be your qualifying income, or this is the total income amount that a mortgage lender uses to qualify you. So after you have your qualifying income, we're going to go to the debt to income ratio, and for this scenario, we're going to use a 35%, which is a conservative number. I believe the VA guidelines allows up to 45%. So we're going to use a conservative 35% number here. We're going to take your qualifying income of $4,789 and multiply it by 35%, which gives us $1,676. This is your total buying power. This is also the number that you're going to subtract any monthly debt obligations from. So if you have any car payments, child support obligations, credit cards, judgments, liens, garnishments, anything of that such, this is the number that you're going to subtract those monthly obligations to. Here I put a car payment as an example. So if you have a $200 car payment, you're going to take $1,676 minus $200, but we're going to leave the car payment off, and we're going to say that your total buying power is going to be $1,676. Again, this is a conservative ratio showing that you have no debts. So we need to figure out what this buying power looks like. So we're going to do some reverse math. I've already done it for you here, but you can see that a $235,000 purchase price using the VA home loan at an interest rate of I think I put 6.2%. It's rounded down, but it's actually at 6.2%. 30 years with 125 taxes and 125 insurance is going to be right at that $1,680 a month payment. So based off of this formula, we know that our purchase price amount is going to be around that $235,000, as long as we can keep our taxes and our insurance in the same ballpark as that 125. At this point, if you're paying attention, you're probably thinking to yourself, how am I supposed to build a house for this amount? All the new construction houses that I see are $400,000, $500,000, $600,000. I'm sure that's what somebody right now is thinking. So I wanted to show this screenshot, which is in the bottom left, we see Charlotte, North Carolina. In the bottom right, we have Fayetteville. And then moving north, we have Raleigh, and then northwest is going to be Greensboro. And I put the filters, you can see at the top, $200,000 max, and then I put new construction homes only. So if you look at the top, you can see there are 137 results, which tells me that there are 137 houses, new construction houses on the market right now, just in this central part of North Carolina. So building a house for under $200,000 is very, very possible. Do not let anybody tell you any differently. So moving on, and right here is the same screenshot of the same area. Instead, I put the max price to be $25,000. And instead of new construction homes, you can see that I've selected land. And right here we see land. I have 1,200 results for land that's for sale for under $25,000. So don't let anybody tell you that you have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars or even $100,000 to buy land. It's just not true. There are opportunities out there. So moving on to step 2 is going to be finding a VA approved builder for your house. So the builder must be approved by the VA. You can go to the va.gov website, and there's a list of all the I guess are general contractors that are approved by the VA to build the VA new construction homes. So in the description, I'll have a link directly to that va.gov website where you can see all of those VA approved builders. And they're also sorted by city and state, so you can find one that's closest to you. So the first thing, they need to be approved by the VA. Second is a recommendation, of course, but you want a local and a proven company. So you want to make sure that this company is reputable and they've done this before. Familiar with the area. They're familiar with running a business. They're familiar with building houses. They're familiar with the VA home loan. So none of these things should be surprises to them, because having a reliable and trustworthy builder is going to make your build 100% smoother. So interview multiple different builders. Again, make sure that your builder is very, very familiar with the VA home loan inspection periods, draws, and warranties that are required by the VA. I don't think that there's a lot of differences between the VA home loan new construction process and many other new construction federal lending laws. So I think there's a lot of overlays. So they're probably going to be familiar, but it is not going to hurt to double check with these builders to make sure they understand the process very, very well. And if you get all the way through, if you go through interviewing all the builders in your area and you don't like any of them, you don't trust any of them, none of them know about the VA home loan process, the VA home loan new construction or construction to permanent does allow the borrower to be their own general contractor. So that means that you can hire out for the dirt work. You can hire out for the electrical, framing, plumbing, foundation work. You can be in charge of managing all these people. You'll also be in charge of pulling the permits, making sure the inspections are scheduled on time, and making sure the draws are done efficiently. So you do have that option. It could save you a few $1,000s depending on your purchase price, but you do have that option if that's something that you want to consider. So I know I just said that I'm going to put a link to the to the va.gov website that shows all the builders. But in the description right below that link, there's also going to be a link to my website where I have put all of the VA approved builders in the country into one file. And I've also included a PDF document that serves as an interviewing template for your construction company. So it's just some questions to make sure that you are covering all the bases on their end, and you're vetting and verifying that they can do what they say they can do. So if you want this information, it's 100% free. You click the link in the description and it will be emailed to you. But moving on to step 3, once you are approved by the VA, so you know how much house you can buy, and you have found a builder that you're comfortable with, you trust, you know they're going to do a great job, or maybe you're going to do it yourself. Now you can price out your bill. So you're going to sit down with your builder of choice, and they're going to have a few different options. I can generalize them into 3 different categories of stock plan, semi-custom, and then fully custom. And as you guessed it, as you move down, they're going to get more expensive as they move on. I believe the reason for this is if they have stock plans, they probably are able to buy that inventory in massive bulk quantities, and they get a huge discount on it. And they're probably built to be already as efficient as possible. So getting the most bang for your buck would be going with a stock plan and just putting up a basic house that they've done several times. But if that's not your style, you can go to the top of your budget all the way to the bottom and do a fully customizable home. Again, it's going to depend on your location, your companies, and your budget. But if you want to stay under that $235K or total price amount, I'm going to suggest that you go with that stock plan, or be your own general contractor and source out the most cost-effective solutions. But just some important steps whenever you're pricing out your floor plan. Make sure you know your must-haves and your must-haves nots. You can waste a lot of time going back and forth with the builder. You want to know generally how many bedroom and bathrooms you want in your house, your square footage, your floor plan, if it's a ranch style or a 2-story, if you want a basement or crawl space. Doing some of this homework on the front end is going to save you a lot of time. Another step would be asking for pricing differences between different levels of customization. So maybe you don't care what the baseboard trim looks like, or your light fixtures. So you can go very bottom grade there, but maybe you want top of the market cabinets and stainless steel appliances, or laminate flooring opposed to hardwood flooring. So make sure you have a good understanding of what's important to you and what's not important, so you can cut the corners on the stuff that you don't want or don't need, and you can really fully maximize the stuff that's really important to you. And the last thing for determining your price to build is, if you're hiring a building company, make sure that you get an itemized list of what things are going to cost. It's absolutely mind-blowing to me that people are going to pay somebody $235,000 without knowing exactly what they're paying for. So a lot of general contractors, a lot of companies are going to tell you that they're not going to give you an itemized sheet, which is just absolutely crazy. Do not accept any price without looking at an itemized sheet and understanding where every single dollar is going. It's absolutely insane to think about spending $235,000 and not knowing where every single dollar is going. You're going to be paying for this for the next 30 years. So it's very, very important to understand. Understanding your allowances. So picking a stock floor plan that this builder has done several times and they know how to do it. Understanding your allowances can go hand in hand with your itemized bid. So say that the cabinets have an allowance for $10,000, but the flooring has an allowance for $3,000. You can rebudget and adjust these allowances based on your liking. And then ask about contingency. So if you're not aware by now, I will let you know that things go wrong just generally in life. Expect things to not go your way, especially when building a house over a nine-month timeline. Things are going to happen. Weather's going to interrupt. There's going to be delays, obstacles. Things will happen. So make sure you cover any scenarios that you think may happen, and rely on your builders, and rely on your mortgage lending team, rely on your real estate brokerage team to get a good understanding of what might be a hangup, and understand who's going to pay for these hangups and what happens when we go past our timelines. So make sure you set these expectations on the front end so you really know what to expect. On the list of builders and interviewing questionnaires, there's going to be a list of potential contingency concerns that you may mention to your builder or to your lender to really get a clear understanding of what happens if these things do go wrong. So make sure you grab your copy. It's in the link below. Step 4 is going to be shopping for the land. So this is the fun part. So it's pretty self-explanatory, but I will go over it right here. So the formula for determining how much you can buy your land for. So we determined the approval amount, which was that $235K that we determined in step 1. We're going to subtract the cost to build that we just determined in step 3. So that's going to give us our total land budget. So let's look at what that actually is. We have a approval amount of $235,000 is what the mortgage lender will give us. We're going to subtract our $200,000 cost to build, because remember from step 2, there were over 150 new construction homes for $200,000. So it's a conservative number that we can build our house for $200,000. So the basic math tells us that there's $35,000 left in this budget. That is going to be your land shopping budget. So again, I'm going to put this screenshot again showing 1,200 different listings for land that's under $25,000 right now. So it is possible, and do not let anybody tell you any differently. Actually, right now, it's sitting there shaking your head. You're saying, I can't do this in my town. There's absolutely no way. I want you to comment your city and state below. Do it right now. And then I will make a video similar to this showing you exactly how you can do this in your city. I will provide actual screenshots of actual listings in the city and show you how you can do this. Also, if you're going to do that, like the video. It'll help spread this information to veterans that are thinking about using their VA home. So now that we understand our land allowance, how much, or our land budget, knowing what our price is going to be for that purchase, now we're going to discuss our land due diligence. The first thing is going to be a perk test on file, or a soil test. So if you're out in the sticks and maybe you're away from public utilities, you do a perk test to see if the soil is suitable for a septic tank or not. And if it is, how many bedrooms can you put on that land? Sometimes home sellers have already done a perk test, and sometimes they have not. So you go to your local county environmental department, I believe, and you can schedule to have a perk test done. And perk test will tell you if you can put a septic tank there, and if you can, depending on the perk test results, it'll tell you how big of a septic tank is allowed, which will tell you how big of a house you can build. So a perk test is something that should not be taken lightly. Do not buy any land with the intention of building a house without having a soil test done first. So if you're not far out in the sticks and you're not going to do a septic tank, make sure and verify that the water is there, the sewer is there. And if it's not, you're going to have to call the city and check on timelines and pricing to have those things installed. Power, telephone poles, underground wires. You're going to have to check to see what these things are going to cost to have them done. Access and topography. So you want to know, can I access this property by any public roads? And if not, is there an easement in place with another property owner allowing me to get onto my property? If not, can I negotiate this? So these are things that you want to do before and during submitting any offers or under contract, because you do not want to buy this property without making sure that you have utilities, making sure that you can get on the property, making sure the property isn't sloped so high that your house is going to flood at the bottom or it'll tip over on top. Again, with any purchase of any property, whether it's land or a house, there's going to be a title search. So your closing attorney, if you're in North Carolina, the closing attorney is going to do a title search, make sure it's clear of any liens or judgments, making sure that you don't buy this property and somebody else is owed a balance from this property. So that's what the title company is for. You get a title insurance policy. It's a few $100s, but it'll protect you against anybody trying to take any money or claim that they have any ownership rights to that property. So once you have all the land due diligence complete, you are ready for your closing on the property. So the VA Construction to Permanent Home Loan Program is a one-time close. So that means that you as a buyer, you're going to close one time before the construction even begins. So that's why we're going to secure up the land. We're going to do the approval. We're going to do the floor plan picking and the pricing. We're going to do everything on the front end, very front end heavy, but then we're going to close one time and then your construction will begin. A lot of people ask me, how do payments work if there's one close in the beginning and I can't move into the property for 6, 9, 12 months? During construction, during your build, you as the borrower only have to pay the interest only portion of your payment. So a mortgage lender, upon proving, you can look at what this mortgage cost is going to be every single month and tell you what your obligation would be monthly during your construction process. So you can factor that into your budget. But if you have enough room in your purchase price amount. So in our scenario, instead of using that $35,000 for land, if you only use $20,000 for your land and you have enough room left over, you can even put your interest-only payments and your closing costs into the loan itself. So that means that you would have no monthly costs while the construction is being done. You'll have no down payment at closing. So you would be building a brand new house based off this scenario with no job, and it would cost you absolutely $0 out of your pocket. So it's an absolutely mind-blowing thing that more veterans, more service members do not take advantage of this program. So you can build a house. It's not going to be the top of the market house. It's not going to be a beautiful house. It's not going to be a huge house. But you can build a house, and it could potentially cost you $0 out of your pocket to do so. So during the construction process, there's going to be some steps that your builder is going to take care of mostly. That's why it's important to find a builder that you do trust. But if you are doing your own general contractor work and you're hiring out for all these tasks, and it's going to be the draws, inspections, your CO or your certificate of occupancy, and your first payment. So these are the 4 things to really keep in mind during your construction and definitely towards the end of your construction. So like I said, you're going to close and then you're going to begin taking draws. So a draw is going to be issued to either you as a general contractor or to you as the builder. So I have draws first and then VA inspection per phases. I guess that's technically how it goes. But the VA is going to inspect a certain point. So say you're going to put the foundation of the property first. You dig a crawl space and the dirt work is all done. Then the VA is going to inspect the foundation, make sure it's to code and it's suitable. Then they're going to issue another draw from the balance. So that means that they're going to take the next form of payment to move on to maybe the exterior of the property and any framing work. So, and then moving on to the HVAC, plumbing, electrical, roof, et cetera, et cetera. So throughout every major step of the construction process, your builder or you as the general contractor check in with a VA approved inspector, and they're going to give you the green light, give you the go, saying that you're good to move on to the next step and you can draw the next funds for the next project. So after you do all that, you're going to have a final inspection, and as long as everything passes, the county is going to issue that certificate of occupancy, or your CO, like we said. So your first full actual payment typically is going to be on the 1st of the month, and it's going to be within about 45-day window of when your certificate of occupancy is issued. Something to consider. A lot of people get hung up on the inspection processes and the draws, and these things are in place to protect the borrower, because it's not uncommon for general contractors, for construction companies, for builders to not hold up their end of the deal. And this keeps everyone honest and make sure that you as the borrower, you're getting a sound property. So keep these things in mind. Try not to get frustrated. I know the VA can make things complicated. But this is how a veteran that is rated 100% disabled by the Department of Veteran Affairs with no dependents can build a house for $0 out of pocket. It is possible. If you want to do this, I schedule calls with veterans and service members. I do this 7 days a week to discuss VA home loan opportunities, whether it's buying or building a single family property, a 2 to 4 unit property, barn-dominium, California, Arizona, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, Missouri, Florida, Iowa. Any state you can imagine, coast to coast, I help veterans take advantage of their VA home loan benefit. So like the video, subscribe to the channel. It will help this video reach more veterans and more service members, ultimately taking care of the community. So thanks for watching. Go to vahomexprt.com, schedule a call with me one-on-one, or you can call me, text me. Thanks for watching.